Well, hello there. I'm Sin. We are in the Book Nook, and today we're going to talk about my past, present, and future of books. I just finished what I'm in the middle of and what we're going to get into in the future. All right, so recently I finished Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, and this is a thriller. It follows a story of three siblings, and their mother has just passed away. The one sibling, Beth, took care of the mom while she was dying and was there for her mother's last words, which were, "Your father, he didn't disappear. Don't trust." And then she passes away before she can say anything else. So Beth's like, "Oh, okay. That was weird." The other two siblings meeting up with her are her two younger ones. Michael is the youngest. He's been out in California. He's like a tech dude, makes a ton of money, and has been out there for several years. And then their sister, Nicole. And Nicole is a junkie and has an addiction problem. So they're all going to meet back up for the first time in a while. Beth had cut Nicole kind of out of her life because she just couldn't watch her do this to herself anymore. And then also, every time that they would interact, Nicole would become violent towards her. She would throw things, she would break stuff, she would threaten her. Was very kind of out of control. And then Michael, he left and she was mad about it. She was also mad that he seemed like he had a better life, and their parents always like gave him everything, like computers and this, that, and the other, and didn't really feel like the parents supported them as much. And so there's some weird dynamic between the three siblings and whatnot. So the mama just said this stuff to Beth. Beth says she's going to keep that to herself for right now. And so they come there. They're going to figure out what to do for the funeral. Lawyer comes over and ends up telling them like who gets what. Most everything was left to Beth. Like Beth is gonna get the house. The sister gets like all the mom's old journals in the mom's car, and then the brother got other stuff too, and I don't remember off the top of my head. Some of the dad's old stuff, I think, but he didn't really need money because he has a bunch of money, so he's not really too upset about that. Not a big deal. So they start going through all this stuff. Like they're gonna figure out like what they're gonna keep, what they're gonna get rid of, and they find this box of old VHS tapes because the mom used to record like everything. So there's tons and tons of them, and they decide they're gonna watch some of the videos, and they pull out this one tape that's from like June of '99, and they watch it, and it's pretty normal up until the end where like the mom's recording the forest or whatever, and then the dad like runs and busts out of the woods, and he's got blood all over him, and he's like, "It was an accident, da 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 da. Turn off that video camera. Come with me. I need your help," or whatever. And so they run off into the woods. The mom does not turn off the video camera, and so you're like see this jostling running around, and then they get to this like weird overpass like under a bridge thing, and there's the dead body of this 12-year-old girl, Emma, who had gone missing several years prior. And that girl was like the sister of Beth's high school sweetheart, Lucas. The dad said it was an accident. And then all of a sudden the camera cuts off. And so the siblings all just see this and they're like, what the F? Because their father had disappeared about 7 years ago. Okay. Was their dad a murderer? And then you start to get like all the weird like you have the flashbacks, right? So you're going to get the full story. You start to see like some of the mom's journals and what she was writing about, and how the dad like just wouldn't tell her what happened, but she helped get rid of the body and whatnot and all that, and for whatever reason. And then you're just like, what the F? And then other people start to disappear and things go awry, and it is part mystery, part horror, part thriller, and I had a lot of fun reading it, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. If that sounds like something that might be interesting to you, check it out. All right, so currently reading, I'll show you what I'm reading. Cozy fantasy, baby. So we have The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I just started it, and I'm not very far in. I am about 20 pages in. So there's this girl named Keela, and she has an assistant named Kaz. Kaz is like a plant person. It's described as like a spider plant person. I imagine it's like a plant that's kind of sculpted to look like a person, but they have tendrils and stuff. It sounds very strange, but there's also like mer horses in this book and winged cats. So very magical. And what's happening is there is a war going on, and Keela works at the library in Elysium. And the war is getting like right up to the doorstep. And when they knew it was kind of starting to come, she had been taking certain books that she thought were very important to put in boxes to put on one of the library boats. They have library boats because they tend to deliver different books and stuff to people on the different islands in the area. And well, the war comes to the library, and one of the floors is on fire, and so they have to get the F out of Dodge. So Kaz and Kayla escape to the boat with however many books they had stacked on there, and they take off. And Kayla's like, I need to figure out where we're going because I don't really know where to go. And the plant guy, Kaz, is like, oh, great, cool. This is great. And then she settles on this one island, and it turns out it's the island that she grew up on. So she thinks that maybe her cottage might still be there, her parents' cottage. When she was 9, they decided they wanted to move to the bigger city and, not live the smaller kind of like island. I guess it's almost like country versus city at this point, but it's a little island. So they moved to the city for better benefits, for, better job options for the daughter and whatnot. So she's going to go back to where she originally grew up and hope that her old house is still there. So they get there, they pull to the dock. The dock is still there, missing a lot of boards. Seems kind of rickety, but they're able to use it and get up there. And then the path up to the cottage, overgrown, covered in vines. And then they get up to the cottage, still has walls and a roof. So we're doing all right, but it is covered in vines. So it's going to need a ton of work. And so they get there and they go in and they spend the night. And in the morning, the doors open and there's this dude just standing there with a scythe. Now, he should have really thought about before just going in someone's door when you see some people and to have a scythe with you. But then again, who knows? It could have been bandits or whatever. So, all right, maybe it wasn't such a bad idea for him to take a scythe. But Kayla wakes up and she's like, oh my God, hello? And that's about as far as I am so far. But he seems friendly, and apparently he has a merhorse farm. And that's about as far in as I am. And it's so far super cute. It's a cozy fantasy. I mean, look at the cover. Does that not scream, I am cozy AF? That's what we'll be reading later tonight. What are we going to get into? Well, I am a big fan of this man, Clay McLeod Chapman. And this book is called Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. I did not read the synopsis. I literally don't know what this is about. I just love the author. So he's kind of one of those must read authors for me. He wrote Ghost Eaters, What Kind of Mother. Both are awesome and so weird. I love those. Like Ghost Eaters, I loved that book so much. It was such a strange, weird premise. The addiction is like a ghostly one, but it's also so close to like an actual drug addiction that it definitely hits home in some spots. Like if you've ever been a person who has been addicted or know people who have struggled with addiction. Very like, I don't know, kind of moving and scary book. But anyway, so this book, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, let's tell you about it. Noah Fairchild has been losing his formerly polite Southern parents to far-right cable news for years. So when his mother leaves him a voicemail warning him that the Great Reawakening is here, he assumes it's related to one of the many conspiracy theories she believes in. But when his own phone calls go unanswered, Noah makes the long drive from his home in Brooklyn to Richmond, Virginia. There, he discovers his childhood home in shambles, a fridge full of spoiled food, and his parents locked in a terrifying trance-like state in front of the TV. Panicked, Noah attempts to snap him out of it and get medical help. Then, Noah's mother brutally attacks him. But Noah isn't the only person to be attacked by a loved one. Families across the country are tearing each other apart, literally, as people succumb to a form of possession that gets worse the more time they spent glued to cable news or falling down internet rabbit holes. Stop watching Fox News, Newsmax. All of it. All of it's horrible. Stop it. Anyways, as people succumb to a form of possession that gets worse the more time they spend glued to cable news or falling down internet rabbit holes. And Noah's Richmond-based family, only he and his young nephew Marcus are unaffected. Together, they must race back to the safe haven of Brooklyn. But can they make it before they fall prey to the violent hordes? This ambitious, searing novel from one of horror's modern masters holds a mirror to our divided nation and will shake readers to the core. This is going to be quite the read. I can feel it. It's like that movie They Live. That's what it makes me think of. After that one, we are going to read Water Moon, and that is by Samantha Sotto Yambao. I really like the cover. Very pretty. All right, let's tell you a little bit about it. A woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop. On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everybody can find it. Most will see a cozy ramen restaurant, and only the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and their deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked. The shop's most precious acquisition stolen and her father missing. And then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike its other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together, they must journey through a mystical world to find Hana's father and the stolen choice by the way of rain puddles, rides on paper cranes, the bridge between midnight and morning, and a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hana must reveal a secret of her own and risk making a choice that she will never be able to take back. How magically wonderful does this sound? I think it sounds really cool. So that is what I've been getting into and what I'm going to get into, and I'm pretty excited about all of these books. I've been super on a fantasy kick recently. Ever since I finished the Dark Tower series, I've just been delving into more fantasy kind of all over the place. But we're gonna get more into some horror next month. This month was kind of like a weird free-for-all where I was just like, whatever I feel like reading is what we're gonna do. Next month, I'm going to definitely get into The Stand by Stephen King and Salem's Lot. I'm gonna try to read those two by him, and there'll be a lot more horror because I should have some holds coming in at the library that are horror. And then also, I just had the Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix just came in at the library that I need to go pick up. So that's going to be coming in the future too. What have you guys been reading recently? Any favorite horror that was pretty awesome, or fantasy, or any kind of book? Like what has been your favorite thing you've read so far this year? Do I have a favorite? I don't know. Need a few more weeks, and then maybe I can determine what has been my favorite thing so far. Because everything's been pretty decent for the most part. I haven't DNF'd anything yet. Nothing yet this year, but I'm sure I will because I am an avid DNFer. If I'm not enjoying it, I'm like, get it out of here. Anywho, now I'm just rambling. If you enjoy videos where I talk about multiple books I am reading or have read, the next video coming up will be about that. So stick around, check it out. And if you enjoyed hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.